Lights go up, the crowd's in a buzz. Hawk talk, start from mighty thud. Voices sharp like a razor blade. Breaking news like a wild cascade. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. Host on fire, you can't deny. Hot take sharp with no alibi. Game analysis deep as night. Get ready for an epic ride. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. We call the plays before they happen. Feel the rush as the crowd is clapping. Stand tall with your team above. Hawk talk anthem, feel the love. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. Tune in now, it's time to soar. Hawk talk brings us what you're here for. Bold predictions, call it how we see. We're the voice that sets you free. We're the free. Set you free. We're the voice that sets you free.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome in on this Wednesday. Looking at some of the news that is going around right now. I tell you what, we got off yesterday. And definitely had a couple of things happen. So I still think there's a chance that Mike Tomlin gets traded. I do. I still think there's a chance that Mike Tomlin gets traded. I still believe that the new voice is just needed. Like, it's not, everybody's like, they fired him. Yes, but it's about getting a new voice. It's not about they just fired him. You could try to, I mean, they go off of performance a little bit. But John Harbaugh had been at the Ravens for how long? And the message eventually gets just too much. It becomes a little bit too much. John Harbaugh was an NFL coach for 18 years. And he has a very good record. Very good record. And he is easily one of the top 2 candidates now out there. You guys know I love Stefanski. If I'm the Raiders, I'm hiring Stefanski. If Brady goes Patriot way, I will say this because I heard this yesterday. Excuse me. If Brady hires Brian Flores and Brian Daboll for the Raiders, that is a horrible mistake. Horrible mistake. I like those two together in Atlanta, in Arizona, even in Cleveland. You have got a very special franchise quarterback coming into your team if you're the Raiders that has a great personality, is already a leader, and has been coached by one of the best coaches in college football. You don't need antisocial people being who runs the football operations in Vegas. If Brady goes Patriot way over offense, now you guys know I think Brian Daboll is a very good offensive coordinator. I think Dan Campbell should hire him as the OC immediately in Detroit. Brian Flores, it would be awesome for him to sign a Brian Daboll as his offensive coordinator. I don't see how that two intense guys that rub people the wrong way a lot, that don't have top-end success with players, why bringing either one of those two people into an organization that's filled with young rookies is going to be any good. And I said it yesterday. Brady gets this wrong. This is on Brady. From everything that's being said, this is on Brady. If Brady gets this wrong, Brady is in trouble. Because somebody was saying it, you don't hear players come out and say a bad thing about Brady. I think it's more because of his power, not because they love the guy. The guy is a horrible businessman. Yeah, he has that business of all that fake food and, blah, 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 blah. Okay, he screwed up his family. He chose football over his family. He's not great at making decisions here, guys. Stuck around the league 1 year too long and hurt his family. I have no respect for that. I said that when it happened. If he screws this up, it's another decision he's made when it comes to football that people are going to roll their eyes at, that people are going to question it when it crashes and burns. Is he actually going to be there? accountable for the decision he made? That's the question. You hire Stefanski, it's an offensive guru. It's a guy that was at Cleveland and won at Cleveland. Won with 5 different quarterbacks in a year. Won with Baker Mayfield. Won with Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, whoever else was the 5 starting quarterbacks that year, and made the playoffs. He just beat Joe Burrow and the Bengals in Week 18. Your Browns are not drafting in a bad spot. Shedeur Sanders is not an NFL quarterback. Because the Browns offense doesn't have to be that bad. But Jerry Jeudy can't get a ball thrown his direction. So I am sticking. I am sticking with. You gotta go. You gotta go offense if you're Raiders. You gotta go somebody that understands what is needed. So, John Harbaugh out. There are a lot of different... both of those guys are going to be hired this cycle. John Harbaugh, I'm guessing, doesn't want to go to the division where his brother is. So... I don't know which one he takes. If McCarthy goes to the Giants, Harbaugh could go back west and go coach Arizona. I could easily see that being a spot. Out west, closer to Jim. I could see that being the case very, very easily. Very easily. Closer to family. I love Atlanta for John Harbaugh. I really like Atlanta for Harbaugh. NFC South. Different pressure. You're talking about a guy that just coached on the East Coast for 18 years. He coached Baltimore for 18 years. Like, you can't underrate that experience, that fortitude, that toughness, that resolve to just be who you are. So, I came with something last night, and it's absolutely crazy. But what if Philadelphia just falls flat? What if Sirianni puts in another one of his playoff performances this weekend and falls flat against the Niners? Sirianni out, John Harbaugh in. Think about it. Anything that happens this weekend is huge. The games this weekend are huge. Tomlin, McDermott, and Sirianni, in my opinion, based off of how this weekend's games play out, could potentially be under a lot of heat. If the Rams lose to the Panthers, and it's because Stafford throws picks, it won't be because of McVay. Watch the game on Sunday against the Cardinals. McVay seriously had that look of, we're going to lose to this team. How the heck are we going to lose to this team? Like, the players came out lifeless. The players didn't come out inspired. And then they got their act together in the fourth quarter and took over. But that's the problem. Like McVay's not going to be under any pressure. He keeps succeeding and overachieving with the team that he has. They know they've got a lot of holes. The Puka situation is going to get really interesting. I am reading more and more. The Rams are done with Puka Nacua. The whole issue with the streamer, the constantly ripping the refs, shows a complete lack of awareness. Saying that the refs, who are lawyers, there's a lot of attorneys that are refs, by the way. There are businessmen that are refs that all they're doing is trying to get on TV. Baloney. They're graded on this stuff. That's like saying that you're going to make a pass interference penalty so obvious that way everybody around the league talks about it. You're not going to do it. You're graded on it. Your ability for promotion is on the line with it. You're not trying to screw stuff up. The only ones that may are ones that are betting as well, which there's a rule against it, but we know it happens. It's still happening. Players are doing it. So we know it takes place. It's a complete lack of awareness. And I have read a lot that Nacua is out. Nacua will be traded. That's why the whole Joe Burrow thing is really interesting to me. If you trade the Bengals, Puka Nacua, and 2 first-round picks, could you get Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow? We'll give you a younger version in Nacua. You give us Burrow and Chase. And then you've got Jamar Chase and Devontae Adams with Joe Burrow. And the Bengals would still have Nacua. They would still have T. Higgins, Chase Brown. They just wouldn't really have much of a quarterback unless Stafford went out there. But like that's why watch for something wild to happen. And watch for the Rams especially to be the center of it. Oh, I can see the Rams getting beat by a field goal if Carolina is just ugly this weekend. It's rainy, wet, chilly, and it's just an ugly game, and they get beat by a field goal, and then Nacua comes out and blames the refs and just flat out says the refs are the only thing that there is. No. You got to be more professional than that. I saw something about people were saying that the Texan and Colt game, the calls were so egregious it was rigged. I watched the whole game. What in the world are they talking about? The Texans had their third stringers in. The Texans ran a vanilla offense and a vanilla defense, constantly let Alec Pierce get open behind the secondary. What are you talking about? The Colts weren't good enough to beat the Houston Texans' third stringers. That's it. There wasn't any missed calls. There wasn't any bad calls. I don't watch games looking for junk like that. I watch the line of scrimmage and I watch the receivers and defensive backs. That's it. The game is won at the line of scrimmage. And you know who wins the line of scrimmage consistently is the Texans, especially on defense. There's a stat. It's a great stat. Will Anderson was in for 6 running plays of the Indianapolis Colts. 6. He made a tackle on all 6 of them. I think that means he's good. I think that means your offensive line couldn't hold up. 6 tackles on 6 run plays. Pretty impressive. Don't blame the refs when you can't block somebody. And that's this whole thing. We're going to have a controversial call this week. The Eagles and Niner game is going to be filled with stuff. It could get really odd. The Panther-Ram game, to me, could get really weird. The Texan game with the Steelers, that game, to me, is going to be Aaron Rodgers complaining a lot. Because the Texans are going to be after him. Stingley is going to be matched up with DK. And DK cannot just bully Stingley. And the Texans are going to hit. Period. Rodgers is going to try to get a bunch of roughing the passer calls. Rodgers is going to try to throw the ball in positions where his players can get a pass interference call, because that's the only way they can win is if they get penalties. I could easily see this being the case. It's a tactic bad teams resort to. Well, just throw the ball short, force the penalty. It's the only way we're going to get down the field. I can see it happening. And there's going to be controversy for us to talk about on Monday. There's going to be controversy for us to talk about next Tuesday. But who won the line of scrimmage? Who actually won in the secondary? It's that simple. We know how games are played. We know how games are won and lost. So, I'm excited for this weekend. But McDermott, Tomlin, and Sirianni, to me, are 3 coaches that if they lose this weekend, listen, I don't think the Steelers are going to fire Tomlin, but I think they would trade him. I really do. I think the Bills would love to have John Harbaugh. I don't know if he wants to go to an even colder place, but it's a brand new stadium and they want to win. And they don't want to waste Josh Allen's career. Philadelphia. It'd be interesting. It would be interesting if Philly hired Mike Tomlin. Oh, boy, would that be interesting. The reality is, guys, I'm not sure where this is all going to go. I really don't. But I do know the Raiders better get this right. And that's one of the things. All right, in other news, Ty Simpson, guy that I think needs to stay in school and get more starts. I don't agree with this. I don't. So his dad, Jason Simpson, okay, his dad said that every NFL general manager they contacted said his son received first-round grade. No, he didn't. Just watch the games. Can you honestly be that bad at Alabama and get a first-round grade? That bad at Alabama? He said he had offers from Power 4 schools. This is the part I hate. He is not in the portal. I complained about this last year, and here we go. Here's my rant part 2. He already knew that if he entered the portal, he would get offers from Miami, Oregon, and Tennessee. They were interested in signing Simpson if he entered the transfer portal. That is contacting before they're free agents. That is infringement by schools. If you're going to have free agency, NCAA / big brand Power 4 conference commissioners, if you're going to have this, get the rules in place. You cannot contact a free agent prior to the league year opening. You cannot contact somebody prior to them being available. He's under contract with Alabama. You keep your gritty paws off until that contract is no longer valid. This is why the transfer portal still kind of scares me.